Hey, fight fans, it's Ted Check. Hey, I got a story here from Deadspin, and I'm taking exception to a couple of things that Tim Marchman is saying in it. I know what Deadspin's all about. You know, they need to they've got a certain angle that they need to, and a certain way that they do things. They need to keep up that MO. But I just think they're barking up the wrong tree with this story about the UFC. I'm just going to go through it. You know, I picked out a few things. The UFC, in essence, is a professional wrestling organization. No, it's not. It's not. It's a reality-based combat sports organization. Okay, WWE is a professional wrestling organization where they embrace things like choreography and acting and stunt work. UFC does not. There are a few things that they borrow from it. Sure, yeah, Chael Sonnen, look at him. You know, he sells fights by talking like a pro wrestler, and certain other things, you know, they adopted it as far as their production values and things like that. But on the whole, wrong. He says also UFC is oriented more around building up marketable characters than finding out who are the best fighters or who the best fighters in the various weight classes are. Wrong again. Take a look at the title fights, okay? Alexander Gustafsson challenging John Jones. That's the top challenger versus the champion. Anthony Pettis versus Ben Henderson. Challenger versus champion. Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. Challenger versus champion. That's how you figure out who the best are. Public revulsion to the sport. Really? Really? I mean, it's legal in every state except for New York, okay? And John McCain, a guy who once called the sport human cockfighting, now says that back in his day, when he was boxing, if MMA was around, he would have done it. He would have tried it. Going right along here, moving right along. The Cell, he's talking about UFC 170. The Cell was the top two bouts would feature 3 Olympians, which is to say they would present genuinely sophisticated fighting. They're Olympians, but this isn't the Olympics. This is the UFC. This is MMA. So you never know what you're going to get out of it. Okay, it's not always sophisticated fighting. Okay, sometimes it's sophisticated fighters in very basic, brutal fighting. But that's the beauty of it. You never know what's going to happen in MMA. You can have upsets. There weren't any upsets, but you could have. You could have had Pat Cummins win. He had a chance to win. Sarah McMahon had a chance to win, but they didn't. That's MMA. See, that's it. That's how you know it's reality based. Because Matt Serra could have lost to GSP the first time around, but he didn't. He won. He knocked him out. There was no bait and switch. It's not a con. Okay, so then he does concede that the knee to the liver is a brutal technique that can completely shut down a fighter's body, down. But then he says here, it still felt like the one it deserved. Oh, okay, let me skip that. Having matched its biggest star with someone who had basically no chance of doing anything against her. What? Sarah McMahon definitely had a chance to do something against Ronda Rousey, and she did. She punched her in the face several times, and it hurt, I bet. Her problem was, like I said, she clinched she allowed Ronda Rousey to clinch. That was the game planning error. You got to keep Ronda at a distance. You can't allow her to clinch because she's either going to judo throw you, or now we know she's got knees too. That was the problem. Once you get hit in the liver, though, man, you want to talk about the stoppage. You can argue the stoppage was early or it wasn't. I mean, that's not a UFC problem. That's a referee problem. These fights were insulting, and so was the way they were promoted. I mean, what do you expect the UFC to do? They are a promotion. They're an MMA company. That's what they do. They promote fights. They have to sell the fights. Or else how are they going to exist? How are they going to put asses in the seats? How are they going to get pay-per-view buys if they don't sell the fights? Were there 3 Olympians that were on the card? Yes, there were. They weren't lying. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Tell me what you think of this. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe down below. That's it. Take care. See you next time.